Welcome to the sportiest stream and the ATS Ascendant Cup, sponsored by Variety Esports. Yet another +1 match joins this stream, and yet again we've got two undefeated sides battling for superiority. It's come down to the end of the season to determine who's really going to be the best of the best. Maybe a little bit of a hype in that sense, but we've gotten to today. We saw the Whoppers sweep Team Evo Vector yesterday on this stream. Tonight, 100x35 Vector Exploding Cat Gif now play each other, and just like last night, one of these teams is going to have their first loss of the season.
Absolutely. So we have two 4-0 teams looking for some big-time action, big-time implications. These two teams are in two groups that are highly competitive, so a loss here could spell trouble. So we are looking forward to seeing both these teams match up and in this +1 game.
Yeah, as you mentioned as well, again, a big one as well. This is, of course, joining me is SpartanDragon, another ATS caster who's been he's been incredible so far this season. As there goes the webcam.
Oh no. It's I think broken.
Your
it
webcam's
lasted
not exactly
about
happy.
5 seconds.
Yeah, I know. We tried to get the webcam sorted out here, and the webcam is not exactly being happy with us. We worked so hard to get this thing. I know you had to end your stream to get it up, and it is not cooperating with us.
I hope you guys liked my 5 seconds of fame.
Don't worry. I'm sure when you go back to that tab, it probably comes back again. Maybe we gotta test that. Maybe it's a recent thing with video.
I know my webcam sucks. So.
Oh no, it's not a webcam fault. It's probably a Video Ninja fault. See, you're already back. You joined back.
Oh my god, it's a miracle.
It might be a tab-based thing, but anyways, while we get things sorted out here, we're gonna go off the webcams and go look at our rosters. 100x35 Vortex, which is an interesting team because unlike Exploding Cat Gif, who have a true set of starters, 100x Vortex, their starters are actually listed as their subs. Astron, Chrono, and Ohm have been the scary players so far this season, and they recently added in Sergeant Blump as coach. These are all long-time players of 100x35, and just knowing how scary both these teams are as well, and knowing, that, the subs for Vortex are actually the players that you should be worrying about, it's very interesting. It's a very strange way to move about this season.
Yeah, I mean, talking about it, listening about it, just that they're highly stacked, and so it's tough to prepare for. Absolutely.
I think another thing we should also be taking into consideration into this match is, we talked about the Wobblers today, searching for being the first team to get a perfect season with no games dropped. This season, they're not the only ones fighting for that. Vortex right now are 4-0, 12-0 in all games. They have not dropped a single game yet this season either. So they themselves trying to keep right up there with the Wobblers to be the first. It's a real two-legged race, and there's not that many matches left. For Wobblers, they only have two. They got to play Legit Auroras later this week, and then they got to play that Week 6 match. The next 35 Vortex, for them, again, they got to sweep this match, and then they got to play NES Nova Ninjas, who are also a team right behind them on the standings. So next 35 Vortex, they got a much tougher road right now, at least at the end of the season, but if they can sweep a team like Exploding Cat Gif, I don't think there should be too many people doubting them.
And so you bring up another great storyline. So yeah, Vortex have not dropped a game this season. And so they're kind of competing with the Wobblers, who haven't dropped a game, which Sporty casted last night. So they're also dealing with that. So there's so many competitions in this season, and that's just yet another one. But they have to focus on tonight's game first and foremost. They can't be thinking about game loss and whatnot.
Yeah, you can't consider that. It's not really about game differential for next 45 Vortex, as it more is just to get out of that group. They're holding that #1 seed, but Group A has been nothing short of top-heavy this season. Vortex are leading 4-0, but there are two teams behind them. We talked about NES Nova Ninjas, but they're the third seed in that group at 4-1 with a +7 game differential. Team Evo Bananas also in that group at 4-1 +8 game differential. So it was scary enough for the Vortex side here is that not only do they play this team, they also got to play against NES Nova Ninjas this week, but they have two teams right behind them, where if they were to even drop a single series, their chances of holding that #1 seed could fall with them. So, for Vortex, this has been a season where winning by sweeps hasn't even been enough for them. It has been a challenge for them to get those game wins, but again, so far we've seen a lot of sweeps, a lot of great action from Hunter X35 Vortex. And for ECG on the other side, who are again are kind of riding well in their group at 4-0, they're also fighting for something. Team Evo Vector were the group leaders before they lost yesterday in a 3-0 sweep. Now they're sitting right behind them, but with a better game differential. Even with that loss, if ECG lose this series, they fall down to second. And for all you're wondering, that first seed matters. The top team out of each group automatically goes that upper portion in that final bracket. So not only do they skip the wildcard, they get a second life in their first match. So there's a lot that these teams are fighting for. They may be leading their groups, but they know if they lose here, that could potentially mean that they got to play the wildcard.
100%. And so, yeah, we talked about it, 4-0 teams, but they have 4-1 teams right on their heels. So it could definitely lead to interesting things come playoff time. So they are both going to be fighting for their life, playing as best as they can. They have to challenge each other coming up ahead. So be sure to tune in, root on your teams, and we're going to pick the action up very soon.
Yeah, prediction poll is live, so I get your votes on who you think will take this one. X35 Vortex or Exploding Cat Gif. Exploding Cat Gif played last season in the Apex Cup. Of course, not the same Apex Cup that we have this season. A very different rank range. This season, it's, high GC3 SSL. Last season, our Apex Cup was GC1, GC2. That season, they had a 4-3 record, but could not get out of the group, could not get into playoffs. This season, it's all but confirmed they're going to be in that playoff bracket. It's just where in that playoff bracket will they be? Defiance, Saturn, and Squubs all joining in. So the ECG roster is here. X35 Vortex, we'll see who they have show up tonight for this best of 5 matchup. But when we talk about the players of ECG, again, they're top, the 3 starters jumping in. They do have a sub, at their disposal, but with RJ having been a relatively recent pickup, just like how Coach Sergeant Bump is for this Vortex team, I think they're still working to get them into this roster. But I think what's also scary is how close we are to the playoff bracket. A reminder, that wildcard is not that far from now. We got a week 6, and we take a week off for the ATS Paradise Cup 2, sponsored by Team Evo, and then that weekend after, the 15th, is that big tournament coming up for that for the wildcard. That is on the 15th for the Ascendant Cup, and then the championships on the 22nd of November. We're not that far away from the playoffs. That's going to come quickly, and for these teams, how these matches go for them is, again, going to be everything. Because teams now know just about where they are in the standings and what they have to do. And, I mean, you know this well, SpartanDragon. You've seen a lot of teams play this season. You know what it's like to be under that kind of pressure. What is it got to feel like for these teams? What do these teams have to do to really maintain that top seeding? Because for both these sides, they may be leading their group, but there are some up-and-comers who are absolutely willing to take that away from them if they falter.
Well, as we talked about it earlier, huge on the mental side of things. Like, it depends on what you're preparing for, what you're looking ahead. You can't look too far ahead, but you have to focus at hand, and especially if you face any adversity, it's really a test to see how they bounce back. And especially throughout the season, when these top teams get challenged, you see how they deal with it. And that's such a huge thing. And an interesting thing to watch as well, because you can kind of tell how they handle demos or different play styles. Are they getting frustrated? So it's definitely a fun thing to watch. But with us having 2 top teams here, we might even see portions of that. And we're going to see how they handle it if they've been down for the first time or whatnot. Like we said, Vortex have not dropped a game. What if they drop a game? Like, how will they respond? They're not used to it. So
yeah,
definitely going to be interesting.
And we saw that a lot of that from Team Evo Vector, them dropping a game. That's not something that they had happen to them often yesterday. Until yesterday, they only lost 2 games before that. But I could tell immediately, as soon as they dropped that first game, everything fell apart for that Vector team. Team Evo Vector, they're a team that's swept almost everybody this season. That's what it's gonna make things tough. Is TJ saying I'm in the Batcave? Yeah, don't worry. I added a blanket behind me, so you guys now have cover. You don't get to see my microwave anymore. But
come on, show the
look,
microwave.
Okay, here you go. It's right here. Say hi to the microwave, everybody. There's the microwave right there behind me. But
Nice.
while we get things sorted out, again, we had some calls here, a bit of a disconnect issue on the side of 135 Vortex, but they're in eventually here, and it is Astron, Ohm, and Chronos. So they really bring out all the stops here for this series. 135 Vortex pursuing a perfect season. ECG did not make it to the playoffs last season. Now it's all virtually guaranteed. But again, the question is not how, but where they will stand. Two top teams leading the groups, both undefeated, but after tonight, that number cuts down by 1. The Wobblers pursuing a perfect season as well. They're watching this match. Team Evo Vector and yes, Nova Ninjas, Team Evo Bananas all watching this series as well because it might impact their playoff chances. Vortex on the blue. We have Goal 1. Exploding Cat Gif on the orange.
And that didn't take long at all. 7 seconds to start this thing off.
Quick defiance, but so far what we saw SpartanDragon an early strike for Vortex, and it's felt like for ECG a bit careless against teams like this, against teams like Vortex with how high ranked their players are and how good they are together. All these guys know each other. You can't make mistakes against this team.
Absolutely not. And so we're gonna see Chrono push it down. A nice redirect, but saved by Saturn. And you know, Vortex coming out hot, coming out strong with these pressured plays.
Plays coming through here, but Squabs will clear it away. Exploding Cat Gif still looking for their first of the series. 135 Vortex trying to clear this one away. ECG beat there. Astron looking for goal, but it does head wide. Ohmster with the follow, but it will be kept up by Squabs. And well, for players like Ohmster, like Chrono, they've all been, you know, part of that Apex Cup group before in the past when the division was lower. Last season it was, I believe it was 106 Goons that that Ohmster was leading, and it was Chrono who I believe was on the Champ 3 Nerds. So these players all have experience with the high-level Rocket League, and coming in this season, I think many were looking at those rosters noticing just how scary these players are, just how high-ranked they all are. That's not even considering Astron, who himself has won a ton of divisions in the past, was, I believe, part of the 100X Pura Playa roster in the past. X35 Vortex, they've got high-ranked players who have been part of that Apex Cup, and this division does include a little bit of that Apex Cup, the lower portion of that GC2 rank range. So coming into the season, people knew how good the Vortex roster was going to be, and they have not disappointed anybody who's put their predictions behind them because, again, they have been unstoppable so far.
And if anybody out there, you're on a team and you need a perfect scouting report, just ask Sporty. I'm just kidding. You can't do that, but he knows his stuff and he knows all these players coming out. But we haven't seen a goal in a little bit, and as I say, I am sorry, everybody. The caster curse. It happens when I'm around.
It does. It's a bad time there for that, but it's another goal for Vortex, who so far have had absolute control of this game. They have just not looked like they have slowed down in any ways. Again, you talk about the scouting. I'm also on 135, so I do know these teams pretty well. I should know these 135 teams pretty well, being someone who's been on them, who's been on 135 teams, who's been part of that org for a while. Always fun to see these teams, how well they do, but for Vortex again coming in, maybe you'd say it's a bit of a cheat code to have, you know, players this good, but I mean, it's an org that really only has one option, that is winning. They have, I think, yet to win an ATS division. They've won ATS tournaments. I don't think they had won one until Season 2, which was only last season in that Ascension Cup. So for ATS season, actually not been so consistent for 135 esports, even though they generally are the org with the most teams in them. So this season, really looking to really nail down these divisions. They've got top teams in every division. They've got 135 Might, who people consider the top team in Apex. Obviously, they've got this team, who many consider the leaders in the Ascendant Cup. And of course, in Advent Cup, 100X Royals are what many consider the undisputed best team there. So 135 really coming into the season with a lot of, you know, rosters really looking to win. And as we're seeing from these rosters, with all three teams I just mentioned being undefeated, they've all been on the stream. They've all proven why they're undefeated.
And that's funny that you dropped some knowledge here about 100x35 and how they haven't won. And so we casted a match myself of 100x35 last night, and you speak of one of the top teams that is Knight. And so they have one of the best players around in Nawafi. They're poised to go far in this one, but as we see, Sporty calling them out in a way. So they have a little something to prove this season between all the teams looking to get a win of it all.
Yeah, but I think another team talking about again, ECG. We mentioned earlier how they've only made one change during the season. That was to remove a player and add in RJ Willie, who is just a sub for them. So for ECG, these players were all on this roster last season. They've all been here before. This is a division that's going to be a little bit kinder to them, and one that they've definitely found their success in, but so far, not finding much success in Game 1. As an infield play, Saturn will clear this out. Defiance trying to find any chances upfield, but ECG have been met in the midfield by 100x35 Vortex, and nothing is going to let them go through. This one cleared away, but Chrono sends it right back in, and 100x35 Vortex will take a third. No, they won't. It bounced off both posts and went wide. I don't think they'll complain. With time running out with ECG virtually with no boost in the tank, 100x35 Vortex will still win this game, and in a shutout.
Oh my goodness, that rolled around, but such pressure. You're seeing shot after shot come through from Vortex as they take game number 1 and prove quite dominant so far, not giving up any goals.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people coming into this, again, they know this team extremely, extremely scary here out of an X35 Vortex, and with, I mean, all that we get to see out of them, all that they have proven to us so far, they find a way to keep this kind of stuff going. Reminder, ECG coming into this match are undefeated, 4-0. So that's, you know, something to really take into this. Just how good ECG is. They've been that kind of team this season. It's surprising to see them really struggle so far, because we forget again how good this team is, but they're undefeated. They've proven this before. Again, a lot of these players have been on past teams. Again, Champ 3 Nerds was a team that Chrono was on, who barely missed playoffs in the Apex Cup last season. Astron, Omster, have both been on teams before in ATS. So, I mean, these are players who are been here for a while, but this season, like a little feels like the season for them to win at this point. I mean, it's all three who have a ton of experience, but ECG, more surprisingly, again, they've all got experience. They were here as a team last season, and yet we didn't see much out of them in Game 1. They got destroyed. They got shut out, but they may change that around. Omster, quick to get to that block, but X35 Vortex better be careful. Follow up goes in. Squabs with a first for ECG.
And they are on the board. They're looking to turn things around. Maybe a slow start for Game 1, but definitely not for Game 2.
What a huge, huge time to get that goal. I mean, that is something that they definitely needed. And it's Exploding Cat Gif with the 1-0 lead. Can 100x find a response and find it soon? Because for Exploding Cat Gif, what's really going to be reliant on here is that defense, how they challenge this ball. It's no surprise, the Vortex is going to win on offense this game. They're going to be the team with more control, going to be the team in offense a lot more often, just based on the fact that they're playing such a midfield-based style. ECG's going to shut them down, but they haven't been able to do so, and it continues in Game 2. And Chrono with that response, it didn't take too long for Vortex to find an answer.
And you see Chrono just snipe that one, lurking in that corner, just rips it, and ties the game for his team. And so Ashton gonna pop it high. Grubs pushing it down. And tied 1-1. Gonna see some kind of break here. Next goal could prove very dominant for Game 2, as they're starting kind of on a even slate all over again.
Midfield play, demo there from Astron, but it exactly make what he wants to do there. As I should say, small correction there. Actually, I was wrong about what team Omster was on. He was on X35 Nemesis last season, who actually forfeited out early, so he didn't even have a chance last season to really make his claim. Really, this season we've seen very few forfeits from any rosters, especially not these top teams. And X35 Vortex once again just looking midfield, finding those passes. You know, this is a team of such high mechanical talent, but you don't see that out of them. Just playing simple. They're just playing team-based Rocket League, and I think that's a huge sign to show these top teams that, you know, Vortex and the Wobblers, both who are super high-rate teams, both who have not dropped a single game so far, aren't winning because of their mechanics. They're winning because all these players just have such good chemistry.
And you can kind of see ECG, they're kind of like finding their groove here, playing into their game, a little bit more poised, and they're attacking with purpose and spread out, and it's creating a little bit of a problem for Vortex as we see a shot come through. Ashton with the save.
A good block there, but Huxley by Vortex getting a much tougher match now. Exploding Cat Gif really bringing the battle to them. We didn't see much of this in-game when it felt a lot of ECG waiting. They're not doing that anymore. They realize this is not a team you can wait and let the mistakes come from. They're just not going to make too many of them. As Squubs, great first touch there, keeps it high. Chrono will meet him part way, but he still keeps going. Ohmster, he'll collect on the back line, and he'll flick this out. Challenged by Saturn as Ohm gets that dunk nonetheless on the Vortex side. Keeps up on offense, but, you know, with this being as important of a match it is, ECG wants that lead. What an infield play! Squubs under the ball! What a great pass! There in front from Defiance, and Squubs nails it!
And what a play. Also, great assist from Defiance as they take the lead in game number 2. That is huge as they're on their way to tying the series, and another one comes through. Defiance proves dominant on that kickoff.
Completely went the wrong way there for Vortex almost immediately. ECG have other ideas, looking to end, so far, the perfect season of 135 Vortex. They've gone 13-0 in games up to this point, and that streak may be broken, which would leave the Wobblers as the only team left in all of ATS to have such a season thus far. As Ohm makes a mistake there! Squubs takes his third, he's got a hat trick, and Exploding Cat Gif are looking to make sure that Wobblers stand all alone at the top.
And that's a tough situation for Ohmster as it stays in front of net, and Exploding Cat Gif, they take full advantage. They're happy to take a 3-goal difference, and a lot more security there as we enter under 2 minutes to play.
Oh, not a very good play there. Just couldn't find that first touch. And actually by Vortex now have to play with speed, have to play with aggression. There's not a lot of time left to take 3 goals, and they've got to get opportunities. Unlike last game, ECG challenging a lot earlier, a lot more aggressively, but still a block in front, wide open for Chrono. And Vortex aren't giving up. 92 seconds left, 2 goals down.
And what a play. That was quite the effort on the save, but unfortunately it didn't go anywhere. And no one there to save it after. And there's 2-goal difference here. You gotta wonder what everyone's thinking. Are they gonna play a little passive here? And you don't want to play too passive because a team like Vortex just gonna sense that and attack.
And they've already been attacking a lot this series. I don't think it matters if ECG is going to play defensive or not, because you know Vortex is going to play that offensive style. They love it. It is classic 135 esports that they love to just play all in your face, and I would expect more from this team. As Ohmster's got a free shot on net, they can't get back. Oh, and the comeback may be possible now. A 1-goal difference, and only 30 seconds after the last goal. It is Ohmster with his first, and Vortex are closing in.
And 2 players from ECG so spread out on the corners, and that leaves an open net. And now it's getting real interesting with 1-goal difference. Minute coming down, some bumps. Defiance is there though, but the walls are breaking down on defense. You could see it, and they're trying to hold on their best. Chrono off the backboard, and Saturn with a huge clear by some time, but Ashton right there, and Chrono could put it in, and the defense breaks down. Ohmster scores it, and you could just see it live. Each hit breaking down that defense, and they actually do it. They tie it up.
And it was Saturn there who had no boost on the end of that play, just didn't have enough to challenge the shot from Ohm. It's tied at 4 each, a high-scoring affair, and it is Vortex who have all the momentum. Saturn trying to keep things in play, gets that challenge on Ohm, but it won't go very far. And interesting enough for Saturn, not only is he, one of the admins for ATS, one of the staff members, part of, allowing this league to be as successful as it is, but he's also one of very few select players who actually have the who actually are involved in every single division this season. He's a player as part of ECG in the Ascendant Cup. He's a coach on 10X in the Advent Cup, and he's the manager for NIRV Esports in the Apex Cup. So one of very few players who actually have that qualification. But this time, he's got to lead his team. He's got to take this game too. They were 3 goals up. It's all tied now, and Vortex hold the keys to success. Can ECG find a way to salvage game 2?
And overtime, we have arrived. And you kind of say anything beyond this or before this point doesn't matter. It's just 1 goal, and anything could happen. But that's why Exploding Cat Gif can't think about momentum. Just 1 goal, play in your game, and we're gonna see if they could do it. And don't forget, like Sporty talked about, Vortex have not lost a game this season, and they are fighting hard to keep that.
Astron, flip reset off the back wall, will force Saturn back, but he's not gonna stay back too far. Does get challenged by Chrono. Chrono, who was teammates with Sergeant Bump last season, the coach for X35 Vortex, but he's not going to be usable there. Saturn clears up field. Ohm, the only one back. Chrono able to help him out, but Vortex starting to jump on top of each other here. Space starting to become a little bit more viable for ECG, but they can't rely on mistakes at this point. Just a good chance. Saturn high. Ohm will be chased from behind, demoed out as Defiance with opportunities. Off the corner, Defiance. Second, not on target. Chrono waiting patiently. Very close play, but it will be cleared out as now a follow-up shot on the other side. But Vortex likewise defended by Saturn Pizza. Squubs, it's under this one. ECG able to get this one out, but Ohmster able to get that 50-50. Astron able to help on as a miss from Defiance. Chrono shot, but Squubs clears it away, and while the follow comes in there. Thank you, Philly, for the follow. The overtime continues. Still anybody's game to take, but reminder, that perfect series may be under attack. ECG win it. The first game lost for Vortex this season, and the Wobblers are the only ones left in all of ATS this season to hold still a perfect record in games.
And they actually pull it off in overtime. Definitely a little bit scary for them, seeing that lead that they had. Was it 4-1 just slip away, and so good for them to get a game back and tie this series.
What a performance so far. Exploding Cat Gif finding a way to again take this game when it felt like hope for them was lost. They came back, they marched back in, they were in desperate need of a game win, and with how they played at the start of game 2, it felt like it was their game to lose, and it nearly was their game to lose, so I think they'll be very relieved. They take game 2, they keep things going, and now going to game 3 to determine who will take match point. We could very well see, again, Explain Cat Gif keep with that momentum.
And so we're going to start this one off. Saturn up, playing defense early. Chrono can't make contact, both teams. Bit shaky here after that overtime, and so much implication as this game 3 is huge to break the series open and get that match point as one rolls right in, and Chrono gonna start us off for Vortex.
Just a break in rotation there as Saturn, who backflipped and was Defiance, who pushed up very high on that play, was hoping that Saturn could leave the ball in front for him. It was a lot of anticipation that won't pay off, and Exploding Cat Gif going down early. And well, we'll get to see how close this match will be, but Vortex up by 1. ECG's got to play the aggressor, and while they have had opportunities, we haven't seen them make too many chances. They've got to make their own plays. Defiance, flip reset. Chrono's not going to let that in his house, and ECG stopped there, but you love the creativity on that play. You love to see a little bit more of that from ECG. Just going for net, maybe, even if it's not the best play, just sending one on net, seeing what works. And for Vortex, who, again, have not had defense be their specialty this season, it actually might beat them there as Chrono able to get another block and demos all throughout. Ohmster, back wall, left in front for Astron, and there is no one in net. Vortex go up by 2.
And do we have a repeat of game 1? Because Vortex, when they score first, they just keep rolling, and Exploding Cat Gif seem to not do too well when they're facing an upward climb. As Schwab's, he's gonna have to help his team put one on the board, as they don't want to feel the bleeding too much. As we know, Vortex, they can put on offense and they could put it on quick.
Defiance. Oh, there's a little whiff there from Astron. Chrono. Some to clear aways, but Squabs. Already Defiance trying to jump on top of this one. Saturn. Astron pushed up very high to that challenge. We'll be thankful the shot wasn't any faster. Nunark's 35 Vortex right now, just sitting back a little further. They've got that 2-goal lead. They'd love to have a third, but they realize, more importantly, to not give up anything to ECG. To not give them any reason to come back in this game. 1 goal for ECG could be the difference makers. Defiance to get up for that one. Unable to get the bump on Omster, but I mean, so far, Vortex standing the test of time here on defense as they get another chance upfield, and I've been very impressed with how they played this game, because last game, it was sloppy from them. They made more mistakes than needed to. This game, it's been relatively clean cut.
Yes, absolutely, and they're getting back to what we saw earlier, and you can see Exploding Cat Gif, they're a little bit awkward on defense, trying to move it down though, and they desperately need a goal as we are at halftime. Saturn on defense again, and just so much of this game 3 they've been on defense, and they're just way better obviously when attacking, when being able to pass, but just not much opportunity to exploit that, to show it.
ECG trying to clear this ball away. Home. Waiting on this one, but it's Saturn who will look for that demo, finds it, gets the bump on Astron too. It's wide open for Defiance. Great play from Saturn. If you can't beat them, why not remove them? A real captain's work as he not only barrels his way through Chrono, but removes Astron from saving. And ECG, they needed a goal back. They'll get it, courtesy of their captain.
And that is huge, and sometimes you gotta change things up, and nothing like a demo to break up that defense that's just so content how they have things going on. And another shot rains through. Hey, look at that momentum. Defiance puts it through. We're tied up, and you know, you never can underestimate a little chaos.
And you can't underestimate how many shots they've had as well. Defiance has had 7 shots so far this game. And finally, he's put his last 2 in the net. ECG have been waiting, but they'll be thankful now, although they may not want to be thankful too long, because Omster's looking to 1v3. And now up goes Astron. Saturn, no boost, Squab's a bit slow! And Astron pierces the armor! Vortex up again!
And what a play by Astron. He's up in the air, he realizes Saturn's there, just hits it a little bit lower, and Saturn just too awkward. Right back up is Vortex, up by 1, as time is ticking away, and soon we will have match point for whoever wins this.
The clock never discriminates in Rocket League, no matter what team you're on. And the Exploding Cat Gif, they know that all too well. Vortex, they know it too, and it's all about holding that lead for now. ECG were able to take back the lead in overtime last game. Now they've got to go to overtime here in game 3 if they want that match point. They want that advantage. And with only a minute to go, time running low. Squabs, who scored both goals so far this game for Exploding Cat Gif, unable to get by the midfield. Astron, back wall, Chrono leaves it off. He was called out by Omster on that play, but Exploding Cat Gif will still get there, as Saturn's gonna punt this one down. Chrono doesn't have it, and Exploding Cat Gif take a third.
What a play. Saturn just blasts that one. Chrono a little too awkward, too far up. And as Schwabs wants a restart server after this one. But we are tied 3-3, 45 seconds to go. These teams just battling back and forth. It's tough to see who's gonna win. There's no clear winner.
Exploding Cat Gif love to be the ones here with that game advantage, but Vortex still fighting strong, but it's been ECG. As this game has gotten through, have gotten better and better, everyone encroached on more territory out of Vortex. Astron facing backwards there. Ohmster's got to come in and help him out. As they'll look for that clear away, Squubs able to get through Astron there. Now to the sidewall. Space is his. We've seen him go for solo plays already this game, but this one won't do nearly as well for him, although maybe it will, because Vortex are falling apart. Time ticking away. They'll clear this one upfield, and they'll look to let this time hit the ground, or rather the ball, as it will. We go to overtime for a second game in a row, and for both these teams, this is for that advantage to keep that undefeated record and to take down another top team with them.
And this is what you wanted to see. Two of the top teams battling, 2 overtime games, just close matches across the board. And we're going to see who prevails on this one. This Lions with the redirect, open net. Oh my goodness, they do it. And they're going to take the series lead, Exploding Cat Gif, off of passing plays.
That's 2 overtimes in a row for Exploding Cat Gif. 1 win away from taking the series. We did get a call for a server reset during that game, so we'll quickly get that sorted out. But for you, SpartanDragon, I don't think we expect this. They were coming into this not as the favorites. Vortex are considered the favorites. Many people consider them the best team in this whole division, in this whole, cup. And, well, we're seeing quite the opposite here. ECG... that is, well, that's impressive so far, to say the very least. I'm very impressed, because that definitely is impressive to me, to see ECG come in, really let them take care of, after how a bad game 1 went for them, turn things around, take games 2 and 3 in overtimes, no less. Only 1 win away, but as we know already, Vortex, if they can get off to a good start, if they can get things going, and if they can just hold down on defense, which has been their biggest issue so far tonight, we could definitely see this series go the distance.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Exploding Cat Gif, they are the underdogs because Vortex have not lost a game, and before they know it, they've lost 2, and they're facing their first loss of the season. So many stories in this one, and now we're gonna have to talk about where their mental's at as we explain this in the pregame. How can they bounce back with new adversities? And this is a huge game as they lose this. They're going 4-1, and who knows from there? That's a big battle in their group.
It is, and again, reminder, there's a lot of teams here fighting for that spot. If 135 Vortex lose this match, Team of Bananas and NES Nova Ninjas are hiding right behind them to take that spot. So anything can happen here. Vortex, again, they have to play NES Nova Ninjas later this week. So losing this sets them up for that series in a terrible position, but we go to game 4 with everything sorted out here. Hopefully the ping issues have now subsided, but let's get back into this one. Exploding Cat Gif are 1 win away from taking the series and from handing the first loss to an X35 Vortex, because they've already been the first team to take a game off of them. Now can they be the first to take a series as well? Here we go. Utopia Coliseum Dusk, our location. Game 4 is where we're at. And for X35 Vortex, it's now must-win territory.
And so Chrono Willie start us off with a goal. And we saw they can start off hot and early, but it kind of fizzled midway through as Exploding Cat Gif, they survived the storm and then some, and brought it back to overtime, proving dominant, proving that it wasn't going to be a repeat of the other overtime game, and very impressive by them. But will we get to game 5? Vortex are going to have to play their hearts out.
I thought that was going to go in for a second. Exploding Cat Gif somehow finding a way to make that play work even then, but what I was going to talk about is the fact that coming into this season, there are many teams I think we considered favorites, as ECG is going to take goal 1. Saturn right through him, but he had a pretty easy shot there. It's Defiance who really makes this happen with that fake on Ohmster to force in that bad save. Exploding Cat Gif get the scoring started.
Absolutely, what an effort. And they find themselves up early. That's a good feeling for them as they're that much closer to closing this one out. But Chrono does push it down midfield. And that might go through Chrono. He's going to put the team on his back, and I don't know how he does it, but he does it time and time again.
This one, I think it deflected. Oh, it didn't even deflect off Squabs. That's just a great power shot there from Chrono. Never left the play. But as I was saying, coming into this tournament, we had two teams that consistently had complaints about being unfair. X35 Vortex were one of them. Team Evo Vector were the other team that people had complaints about before the season started. And as we're seeing, they're meeting their match right now. Vortex do take the lead, however, in Game 4. But as we've seen already, again, these top teams, who many consider unfair, they're meeting their match. They're not nearly as top heavy. It's not nearly as top heavy as people think it is.
Absolutely. There's so much competition at the top. People don't realize as just like an absolute great matchup. We couldn't ask for anything better here, except for Game 5, of course. But Chrono is doing his best to make that happen.
You might get your wish here, Saturn. Not Saturn.
Yeah.
Spartan. Very similar name. Saturn's not here with us, I promise. Speaking of Saturn, there he is. You know, I say his name,
you
and he comes alive.
him.
He not say his name.
Hey,
he shows up for us.
Is that illegal, chat? Is that illegal to call upon the player to score? I think Sporty is rooting for a certain team.
Saturn, hand me your PayPal, please. I can get some money for you. Oh yeah, you know what? Thank you, TJ. He's actually sponsoring here. Thank you, TJ, for that. He'll help me pay off Saturn. For this one here. As Saturn now looking for another play. Pinched off the back wall, but ECG, good performance of the captain so far. He's been leading this team tonight. I don't think there's been too many that can doubt him. Thank you again, TJ, for the cheer there. And it's all tied up. It's all even. We've seen this storyline before, though. We've seen these two teams dance in this position, and we know it could go either way at this point. But ECG generally have been the favorites, have been the better team in this position. And look who scores next. Squabs. It is ECG who take the lead next, and they're looking to have the series end here, but rather than end later.
And they've just been so impressive beyond Game 1. Just able to bounce back from that loss and just prove everyone wrong as they take the lead here, and they're just that much closer to defeating this Vortex team as another one from Saturn, and that's a 2-goal lead.
A big lead as well. Exploding Cat Gif starting to run away with this one, but the fortunate thing is they're starting to run away with 3 minutes left. X35 Vortex still have a lot of time to answer back, but you don't want to be in this position. It's Exploding Cat Gif right now. You already have the series lead, and if you're on X35 Vortex, you've got to find something new on offense. It just hasn't felt like they've had enough innovation to get something on offense that works, and Exploding Cat Gif, they're innovating. We saw them bringing the members, saw them bringing the passes. I started to see them bringing more solo efforts, just long shots. They're experimenting a lot more, and it's succeeding a lot more. And Vortex right now having their issues with just doing the same thing.
Did you just slam your desk because he missed?
That's my roommate leaving. My door is just really loud. I am not slamming my desk.
We know you love Saturn, but you don't need to slam.
That's my roommate leaving. I promise you. If you hear that sound, that's my roommate opening the door and closing it. He's probably out going out to eat dinner right now as Exploding Cat Gif looking for goal 5. Squabs! Oh, he nearly snuck that one in. Astrid wasn't ready. Here goes Saturn, and he's been unstoppable. 5 shots, 4 goals, and the ATS admin is really schooling 100x35 Vortex.
And stepping up in such a big way in a pivotal game as they're at match point, so close to getting that victory, staying undefeated. It's huge in this league that we're in. Especially, we talked about Omster gets one back, but hey, 2 minutes left. It's not enough to say it's all done.
Especially not for Vortex, who's already proven they can definitely do that. After what we saw in Game 2, from 3 goals down, they made that comeback happen, and it was with less time than this. So, X35 Vortex absolutely can do it. They've got to bring that offense on. They've got to bring it at full force. And another team that's hoping that they can bring it at full force is Team Evo Vector. Right now, they're the biggest 135 Vortex fans you can imagine. And for good reason, because they want ECG to lose this series and to drop below them. Vortex, take another. It's Astron to Ohmster. And a fourth goal this game. Vortex are starting to gain momentum.
Are you kidding me? They prove time and time again, you can't predict any of this. And whatever you're thinking, something else is going to happen. And when they have one goal in, it's just such a momentum boost for them. And they're just seemingly able to ride off that. And Exploding Cat Gif, they are in a bit of trouble. They're still in the lead, but they got to watch the mistakes or else they're going to be punished.
It really isn't even mistakes, it's just quality plays from Vortex right now. You saw that pass from Astron. It could not have been played much better as now Ohmster unable to get that play. Scrub's already waiting back as 100X. Oh, waiting at the goal line. No, Astron wasn't ready for that touch from Chrono. Does get up in time for the block, but that's going to put a dent in the Vortex plans as they'll pinch this one out to the defense of ECG. Squabs challenged early, didn't actually see that play initially, and now Chrono, midfield, in goes Astron, left in front, Squabs just does the pop-up play, Astron, Squabs again, Saturn, no boost in the tank, just gets that bump on Ohm, trying to waste out that time, but Vortex still have this one, low boost, couldn't direct this one around that back wall, Exploding Cat Gif survived now, but 30 seconds still to go, and Vortex with another plan in their back pocket, Defiance, gets that demo, opens up space. Squabs, midfield, trying to find the goal to really secure the series for them, but the time ticking away. Vortex holding that back line. Ohmster, flick over Squabs, in goes Saturn, double commit, time running low, but it's a 3v1, Chrono! Oh, what a block for Defiance! And with time ticking away, they may only get one more chance.
And it's last second effort here. Can they do it? What a block by Defiance. And it's still up. And we're not done yet. Scrubs has to save. And ECG, they actually pull it off. Huge effort from them. Massive credit going out as they proved everyone wrong, except their loyal followers in chat.
What a performance here. 135 Vortex, their first loss of the season, and that means that for both of the, I call them the unfair teams in this division, as many people consider them, have now been beaten this week. And that make things oh so interesting for the different groups playing. Now, what does that mean? ECG now lead their group, and Evo Vector now have to catch up to them in the match that they play later this week. But Vortex, for the loss now they have to play Nova Ninjas to see if they can hold that #1 seed. So getting interesting this week here. And reminder, that's not even week 6, where a lot of these top teams will play each other. A lot of other top teams will be playing them as well. So things are getting interesting this season. We've got a true top team in Exploding Cat Gif and X35 Vortex. They're still very much some of the best teams here, but Exploding Cat Gif proving that tonight they were the better team. 3-1 the series scoreline, and X35 Vortex have now been defeated.
And yeah, absolutely. Exploding Cat Gif, they maintain that record, and as you've talked about, such a incredible week 5. So many top teams battling each other. Everything is coming to a head, and now Vortex, they do take that loss, but they're not out of the woods. They have to play Nova Ninjas, who are 4-1, and who knows who's going to win that one, as tight race in Group A.
At a very, very tight race. It's only getting closer now, and it makes it interesting. A lot of different leagues. Now it also means that the Whoppers are the only team left in ATS Season 3 who are perfect in all games. So they're the only team now fighting for a perfect season, which has never happened before in ATS history. So we might see history this season from the Wobblers, but I don't want to curse them. They do have to play a match this week against legit Auroras. They've got to play their week 6 match, which is guaranteed going to be a tough one. It's gonna be an interesting fun weeks of the season. But what it does mean with these matches how they have gone, things are only getting more and more interesting by the match.
Yeah. So Do you think Sporty just jinxed the Wobblers next week? Find out on the next episode.
I'm sure I have now, and I'm sure I know Gray and Duber are watching. I'm sure they're very, very not happy that I said that because now it's not going to happen. It's gonna happen. They're gonna come into the last week perfect, and then they're gonna drop one game, and that's it. And it's gonna be their third game too. That's what's gonna happen, and it's gonna be on my stream very likely, and I'm gonna be very sad. But I mean, so far, they've been incredible. There hasn't been too much to. I don't think you can say that too many people have denied both these teams how good they have been, but people have been denying ECG that that top spot as a team, and I think now people are realizing, no, they do deserve it.
I know they proved a heck of a thing tonight here, taking down Vortex, and it just goes to show you, you could think a certain team is, maybe not the best, but still has a great record, but they just perhaps haven't played certain competition, and stuff like tonight allow them to shine, allow them to prove where they stand in the season.
Joining us here to talk about this match, welcome in Saturn, the captain for Exploding Cat Gif. Many people during the season named 135 Vortex as the team to win this season. You've now beat them, have knocked them off their perfect record and their undefeated record. ECG now stay undefeated. How are you feeling tonight? That was probably your toughest match of the season so far, and ECG took it.
Feels pretty good. That series was a little bit wild for us. We had some ping issues with two of our players, but we battled through it, so I'm proud of them.
Spartan.
Sorry, I didn't know I had the floor, but yeah. Right. So you had some ping issues, huh? How did you overcome that? Like, what were you guys talking about? How much did it affect you? Did that server reset change a lot?
Well, we hope it did. We only got it for one game because we didn't really realize the server was causing the lag. We thought it was a one-off, but yeah, we just battled through it. I mean, all you can do at that point is just push on and keep going forward, and we just wanted to apply the pressure to them because we know how good that team is, and it worked out.
Yeah, it definitely did, and you guys again proving season. It's a scary one. Team Evil Vector right behind you. They did lose this week, but they're still right behind you. They've got a pretty good game differential too. Was Team Evil Vector at all any sort of inspiration for you guys to get this win, or is it more so just the fact that you wanted to beat a top team? You wanted to beat 135 Vortex, prove this team was not as good as people said they were. What was your inspiration for this match? Because it really did look like you guys came in inspired.
We just wanted to prove we belong at the top. I mean, we've got two teams coming into this game that have not dropped a game all season, and we wanted to prove that we belong up there with them. We wanted to hype as much as they do, and we want to prove ourselves.
And so an important question here. Did you feel any kind of superpower when Sporty called upon your name in that final game? Did you feel anything?
I'm doubting you actually heard me.
I unfortunately did not have the stream on, but I did drop 4 goals last game, so I'm going to thank Sporty for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I do have a knack for doing that sometimes. Again, what a performance. You guys have been incredible. 5-0 with your amazing record. It has been an ECG team that played last season, couldn't make it to the playoffs last season in your division. Now this season, you have been nothing but perfect so far. You gotta take me through kind of what it's like to, run back the same season with the same players all over again, because, after what happened last season, it would probably be it would be more likely that you'd see teams make changes. You guys didn't. You kept the same players. Take me through kind of that decision, what it was like during the off season.
Well, during the offseason, we wanted to try and make some roster changes. We looked into some different players, but it ended up not working out. So, I mean, I trusted my guys. We put in a lot of work from that last season into now, and it looks like it's paying off.
Absolutely. It certainly looks like it's paying off. And just another question I want to ask. So there was a time you were up 4-1 and kind of let that slip away. How were you guys feeling on that? What was the mental through that process?
Hey, we want to keep our mental going strong. I mean, we knew going into this series that this team is dangerous, and they can erase leads like that very quickly. So we just wanted to understand that we're going to keep our foot on the gas pedal, whether we're down by 4, up by 4, whatever the situation may be. We want to keep things going because we did not want to have that team kind of get in our heads about how dangerous they are. We want to just move on from it and play our game, and we did.
3-1, you beat 135 Vortex and keep your perfect season going. Thank you so much for joining in Saturn. It was amazing just to get to talk with you here. And again, congrats. Part of Exploding Cat Gif season has been, you guys have beaten 135 Vortex, something that I don't think anybody saw coming. As we saw in this week, or at least not very many people saw it coming. You guys do it. Congratulations on your win. Have an amazing rest of the night. But before you leave, of course, Saturn, we gotta have those shoutouts. We always have a little shoutout moment at the end of this stream. So the floor is yours.
I just want to shout out my teammates. I mean, couldn't be doing this without them. Scrubs and Defiance. Appreciate what they've done. They put in a lot of hard work, and I'm very thankful for them.
So much, Saturn. Congratulations on your win and your perfect season thus far. Continue that good work through week 5 and week 6 as you go to as very likely you'll be in that playoff bracket now with that win. Again, congrats on your win. Have an amazing rest of your nights, and we'll see you again, hopefully, very soon on this stream.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate the cast from you both.
Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it, and we appreciate it.
Saturn now. That was Saturn from Exploding Cat Gif, a 3-1 win over 135 Vortex. SpartanDragon, it's been amazing having you join the stream. You've never been here before, but it's always nice to have a first. Before we end the stream and go right off to someone else, anything that you want to say? Any final messages of yours? Any final notes? Anything that...
Sure. First and foremost, thank you, Sporty. You've been nothing but good to me through my journey in being a caster, and you've provided me many opportunities, and I'm sure many other people can say you casted matches, and I think we could all say we appreciate you. So big shout out to you. And other than that, I mean, I stream a lot, 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern. We do viewer attorneys, 6 bands, whatever you have you. And so I also stream on Twitch. So if you want to check it out, more than welcome to. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in for this one.
Again, that switch, SpartanDragon. Go support him there. He's another ATS caster, great person here, and a good friend of ours here in ATS. Thank you all so much for joining the Sporty stream here. ATS Ascendant Cup action brought to you by Variety Esports. Thank you all so much for joining. Have an amazing rest of your night. Take care. We'll see you again on this stream very soon.